Hello and welcome to Crancast, the Communications Regulatory Authority of Namibia's official monthly podcast and interview series where we take you beyond the boardroom. This platform is designed to bring CRAN's regulatory work to life through accessible and honest conversation with CRAN's executive and technical experts. So whether you're watching from home, the office, or on the move, thank you for joining us. My name is Jennifer Mathe, and I'm your host for today's episode. And I'm excited to guide this conversation and create space for an engaging and informative session. Today, we're talking all things Universal Service Fund, and to help me unpack this topic, I'm joined by the USF expert Jake Maritz, the manager responsible for the implementation of the Universal Services Fund at CRAN. So, Jakes, for someone who's never heard of Universal Service or Fund before, can you just share with us what it is and why it exists?
Thank you, Jennifer. As well, the Universal Services Fund was established under Section 56 of the Communications Act, Act 8 of 2009. The main purpose of the Universal Service Fund is for us to try to ensure that everybody in Namibia has got meaningful connectivity, meaning they've got access to internet and ICT services. The way we do it is we collect levies from all licensed telecommunications operators, and this levies is then reinvested into construction and deployment of ICT infrastructure in those communities, which are often neglected due to the fact that due to their size, the operators won't go there because it won't be commercially viable for them. That's the reason why we then use the fund to subsidize these same operators to go deploy infrastructure in those regions.
Right. Talking about communities that need to benefit from the USF, can you just share with us which regions have benefited so far from the USF projects in recent years and how were they identified?
So for phase one of the Universal Service Fund, we focused on 5 specific regions: the Kavango East, Kavango West, Oshikoto, Wangwena, Kunene regions. And throughout these 5 regions, we constructed 9 towers which served 16 institutions. Now, if the institution, this can be a school, can be a clinic. And part of the subsidy is that the operator is required to provide free broadband data services to those institutions for a period of 7 years. Now, looking at phase 2 of the project, which I'm also glad to share that we have started earlier this year. Together with those 5 regions, we've also added sites in the Zambezi region, Umusati region, also the Karas region. And we're looking here about 19 institutions which will be receiving the free broadband connectivity, as well as the community who now can enjoy 4G broadband as well as voice services. So with regards to the actual process of identifying the sites, we first start off with a desktop exercise whereby we compare data that we've received from the network operators on where their network infrastructure is located, and do a comparison with census data as well as information pertaining to where these institutions are located. Following that, we send out a team from the Universal Services Fund to do an on-site verification to see what is the actual situation on the ground. Once we then finalize our list of sites, we prioritize them and we put out a bid for any of the telecommunication operators to request for a subsidy to provision services at those locations.
Talking about the digital divide, how does CRAN ensure that these infrastructures that have been put up are actually being used by the communities where these services have been brought?
So what we've done in the past, especially with 2 of the sites that we've launched, the one was launched in Ipinga in November last year, and the other one was launched in Iomba, January of this year. is we also took the responsible operator with, and they had their own little gazebos that they set up there, whereby they not only register the SIMs of the clients, but they also show them how to make use of these types of services. And I believe moving forward from the from the CRAN side, we will also have our communication team who will be doing a bit more intensive digital literacy campaigns and awareness campaigns to inform these communities on not only the advantages of the ICT services, but also some of the dangers that lurks out there, especially when it comes to cybersecurity and child online protection services.
All right, Jace, just to take it a bit further, what would you say have been the biggest barrier in achieving universal service in Namibia overall?
Universal service providing each and every person in the community with connectivity. I would say the biggest challenge that we've encountered is Namibia is a large country with a small population. So you've got a lot of areas where it's difficult to reach these customers, not only geographically, but due to the size of the communities. As I indicated earlier, it's not commercially viable for the operators to go there. Hence the reason for the fund. The second challenge is I believe that even though we are trying to serve these people by deployment of infrastructure, it still costs money. And even the USF is limited with regards to how much funds it's got available for projects every year. So whereas we would have liked to have everybody connected sooner rather than later, it is also a step-by-step process that will be taking a couple of years in order to enable everyone to enjoy the same benefits.
Jakes, one of the requirements is for the Universal Service Fund to produce an annual report. How is the USF faring on that front?
Yeah, so it's actually a statutory requirement as per Section 58 of the Communications Act. To date, as I indicated, in 2024, we operationalized the Universal Service Fund, and we've actually I've got a copy. We've last year released the first edition of the annual integrated report for 2024. And I'm also very, very excited to announce that the 2025 annual report has earlier this week been approved by the board of directors of CRAN and is now being submitted to the ministry for their approval before being released to the public as well.
Looking ahead, Jace, what are the USF's priorities for the next 2 to 3 years, and what can we look forward to?
Okay, so tying in with what we've done so far, we are still planning on deploying additional RAN towers throughout the regions where there is those gaps. But apart from that, what gets me excited about the Universal Service Fund is the fact that it is technology neutral. So while we were focusing on mobile RAN towers in the past, we are also considering what we can do with other technologies, other emerging technologies, such as the recently launched LEO satellite services in Namibia. And we've also working in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and Social Services on other projects, which I don't want to get into at this stage, but the public certainly has something to look forward to.
Well, there you have it, folks. We have come to the end of today's conversation, and I thank Jace for taking us beyond the boardroom. To our audience, thank you for tuning into Crancast. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with others who would benefit from this conversation. And join us again for more meaningful conversations in future episodes. If you haven't done so yet, subscribe, like, and share. Until next time, my name is Jennifer Mathe, and this has been Crancast.